Hugh, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Sonny. Thank you for having me.
No, you're very welcome. I remember the first time I sat down after the studio was made, after the podcast was all done, and I said to myself, I want to get a handful of people on here straight away, off the bat. And you was one of those guys because you're the most uniquest person I know.
Is that right?
So you're a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
You're a stand-up comedian and a magician.
I've been doing magic for a few years.
You've been doing magic for a few years as well.
Yeah.
And like that, just that alone, I think we could do a podcast just on that.
Well, I might not be any good at both of those things,
Doesn't matter.
I do them.
And more importantly, your podcast.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. What's it called and when does it come out?
Well, I actually have two podcasts. One that's been going for a little while now, but I suppose it's not really my podcast. It's my wife's podcast.
Oh, wow.
Because she hosts a open mic night and for poetry in Nottingham, and we record that and put all the open micers out on the podcast. And then she also interviews other poets, and we put that out on that podcast, and that's a Dandelions Poetry podcast. But my kind of baby and my project, which is what I do with my niece, is the My Generation Gap podcast, and it's something I'm quite proud of.
I love it.
Oh, thanks.
Like my wife as well. Like we've been watching it, and it's very Moorish. Excuse the pun, but it is very Moorish because you watch one and it's so relatable. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm now 37 years old, okay?
Right? Oh,
and my daughter is 7 years old.
Yeah,
and she's telling me about trends at 7 years old. She's watching things on TikTok and YouTube. And I haven't got a clue what she's talking about, and I'm having to research to make sure is she in danger. What is she looking at?
What does this mean? Yeah. So with me being 50 and a generation Xer, or in Generation X, these are all terms that are all new to me as well. This is part of the reason why we do it. And my niece is 18 and she's in, I keep on calling it Generation Z. But she says, no, Uncle Stuart is Gen Z. I'm in Gen Z. Okay. And there's some real differences between us. And we've been best mates since she was alive, since she was born. We've been best friends. So we sort of bounce off each other really well. And yeah, we've got a lot of history behind us. So we're full of lots of stories of the ridiculous things that we've done and my family have done and she's been involved in. But then there are those stories that she doesn't know about, or certainly stories about her mum, my sister, which we could talk about, and all the things that I did in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s growing up that she isn't aware of, or and then just the differences in the different generations. So we kind of focus on an aspect of culture from one of our generations, for example. Just a TV show. I think the first one that we did was Wicked, the film Wicked.
That's right. Yeah.
We looked at that first and just talked about how we both experienced that and what we felt about it. And then from that, just all these conversations just spring out from it. So we do very little preparation, which I think is pretty good for a podcast. I think that's one of the things where podcasts fall down when you realize how much prep goes into it.
I agree so much. I mean, I really tried my best to prep for this podcast. About a month ago when we were talking about coming on, I was trying to prep, and then I realized the more I'm prepping, the more I'm losing concentration of the art of the conversation.
Exactly.
Losing it. I thought, hang on, what are we doing? When what I really wish with this whole technology, with AI booming as it is, I want a floating camera that follows me, and I don't want to be able to see it. I want a discreet camera that can just watch, because the amount of conversations I wish had been recorded.
Yeah.
When we're backstage, we're about to go on. I mean, tensions are high, and we can see the crowd. The banter we have is, I mean, that show that we did in Sheffield.
Luke, upstairs. Yeah.
Shout out to Luke, another great stand-up comedian.
It was great, yeah.
We got there. I mean, the laugh that we had there, I wish someone would recorded that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, and then that's it. It's all gone, isn't it? It's all gone in a flash. So I suppose it's a bit like improv, isn't it? I used to do a bit of improv as well, and some of those genius bits, those bits of conversation, those bits of humour and comedy, they're there in that room and then they're gone. So like you say, if you over prep for a podcast, you end up talking yourself down different routes and different corridors, and you kind of confine yourself really. So
100%.
just having an open conversation is good, and then you end up just talking about all sorts of things.
Going back to you said your wife has a poetry open mic night.
That's right. Yes.
So what is poetry, stand-up comedy in poetry? How does that work?
Well, no, it's not. There's no comedy in her night. I mean, there is some comedy, but it is just poetry. So she studied. She did a master's in creative writing. She's always loved poetry, and she knows lots of poets. So for her then to start doing an open mic night where she was getting loads of poets coming down in just to read their things, and there's no kind of entry requirements. It's not like, you have to have something published or you have to be a great poet. You just have to come along and just to be around other creative people, get your poems out there, listen to them, hear them, speak them. And
okay, I misunderstood. I thought when you said open mic night, how many open mic nights have we done? In my mind, when I hear open mic night, it's like comedy. So yeah, that makes sense. I'll tell you who really shocked me in that world. I'm really bad. I judge people by, that saying, don't judge a book by its cover. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
I am, and I'll hold my hand up to you. I'm so bad. So the first time I met Mark Locke, a good friend of ours.
Yes.
So we're in the stand-up comedy, the class, we're sitting there, and in walks Mark Locke, okay?
His beanie hat,
shorts.
Skateboard shorts,
big chain, BMXer. He walked out, sat down, and he just looked around. In my head, I was like, the last thing, I'll be honest, I thought he's going to be a poet.
Yeah.
And he's a poet.
And he's a really good poet.
An amazing poet. And I remember when he told me, he said, I'm struggling a little bit here. I said, why? And he said, because I need to do this routine for stand-up. And I also need to remember my stuff for poetry. And I thought he was joking. And I was like, because you're a poet anyway. Well, and I was like, no. And he's amazing.
It was great,
that's truly, maybe he could come to your wife's...
I've suggested it to him.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really good, that is.
And like I say, he could absolutely come along.
What a skilled guy. We could do a podcast just on Mark.
On Mark, yeah.
So he's a poet.
Okay? Yes.
An amazing stand-up comedian. And even though he doesn't give himself the credit he deserves.
He does not, no.
And he's a phenomenal director.
Yeah, filmmaker.
A filmmaker who's made so much.
Yeah.
I mean, let's plug his actual show. When is his date? His show's called Chicken Run, I believe.
Chicken Run on the Chicken Show, and it's in Tamworth, is it?
Tamworth.
On
May 26th.
Do you know what? I'm not sure.
Mark, so I do apologise.
We'll have to look that
up. What I'll
up.
do is I'll put it in the description of this episode. But that is one hardworking man. I have never seen someone film so much and then have to edit all of that in one go. He told me he's doing like 10, 15 different projects.
Yeah.
And he's doing it all. He's just banging them all out. That's mad.
Yeah, sadly, I'm not going to be able to make it to the actual day. Are you going to be there?
I've told him I'm going to try and make it. Yeah.
Crikey. Yeah, I'm working away in France that week, and I think I might still be travelling back on the day. So I might, but I'm not going to make it. So I'm really disappointed.
He's going to wear a chicken outfit.
Yeah, no, he said with his skinny legs in his orange tights.
I'm not going there because I'm going to be on screen. I'm going there because I just want to see him in a chicken outfit, I'll be honest.
Yes, now seeing yourself on a cinema screen, that's something I've not done before. And you think, that's something I really want to experience. But then when you actually experience, I'm thinking, I'm not sure I want to see myself in that I think I'm large enough already. I want to see myself that big. You see every blemish in your
I was so paranoid. For those people that don't know, we actually were in one of his projects.
Yeah.
We were in Anus Ass.
Anus Ass, yeah. I think you were in Anus Ass 3.
I was in number 3.
Yeah.
And you was in number 2,
I think.
Was it 2? Yeah. Pedro, his son, Gunnar. What a legend.
What a legend.
What absolute legend. Like, I think that kid deserves more credit than is known, really. I mean,
I mean, the outfit he had to wear. I don't suppose we should give away too much.
No, we won't give away too much.
It was thin, and I don't know when you shot yours, but it was cold.
I've never been more cold in my life.
February, and it was cold.
Yeah, like I wasn't thinking of my lines. I wasn't thinking of the cameras. All I was thinking was, is my nose leaking?
Yeah.
That's all I kept thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. So how did you get into magic?
So I've always loved magic. Growing up in the 80s on the telly, there was a Paul Daniels magic show. And I loved watching Paul Daniels on the TV. And then Darren Brown came along, and I loved watching him also. And so it's something I've always wanted to do. I've always loved, but never really got into it. You know, people buy magic sets for. I'm too clumsy to do anything. My hands are just, I'm like a ham-fisted oaf. So I never really got anywhere with it. But then I met my current partner, and she has a son who, when we met, he'd just turned 4, or he's just about to turn 4. So for his, I can't remember whether it was 4th birthday or his 5th birthday, I said to Caroline, who's my partner, let's put on a magic show for Ivan's birthday. So I went out, learnt a few little tricks, bought some little tricks and some props, and did a little magic show. We both did it for him and his school friends. And it was really, really great. And then from there, I thought, do you know what? I will give this a go. So I joined the local, I messaged the local Nottingham Guild of Magicians and auditioned to join their group. So you have to read up a little bit about magic, and then you have to perform to them and do a few, which is really nerve-wracking.
Oh my God, I can only imagine. So you have to perform in front of magicians who know the tricks.
Yeah, so it's like doing jokes to other comedians, you know, when they know what you're doing, and that's really hard, isn't it? Yeah. So they, you know, and you know that they know everything that you're doing, so because they've seen all these tricks a million times before. So you do this little show in front of the group, about 10-15 minutes in front of about 20 other magicians, and then they either decide to let you in or not. And thankfully they let me in. And then from there, then the just world opens up, because there's a thing. So some magicians make their money by doing shows and you know, weddings and birthdays and those kind of things, or stage shows or corporate events. But another income stream is to go around different magic societies up and down the country and do what they call lectures, where they come along and they present to different groups. You know, here's a bunch of my tricks. This is how I do them. And if you want to buy this idea from me, you can. And so you just get loads of ideas from how to present different magic tricks. So that's how I built up doing magic from that, and doing little bits.
So when you look at a magician, let's say David Blaine, or you look at Dynamo, you look at these magicians when they're doing very elaborate things.
Yes.
Do you ever stop and think, well, hang on a minute, how did you do that?
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what got me into it, was wanting to know how they did that. Because some people like the wonder, don't they? Some people are like, oh, well, that was wonderful. I don't know how to do that. I want to keep the magic alive. That was great entertainment. And then just go home and go to bed. And I don't want to do that. I need to know. It's like, right, how did I do that? How did they do that? Because you don't realize that the smallest effect or the smallest trick has taken months and months of preparation just to do this small little thing. The amount of work that goes into just the smallest thing, it's really quite impressive. So
I'm the black sheep of my family.
Oh, really?
Because I refuse to believe, and I'm one of those where I have to question everything.
Yeah.
My dad is, bless him, when the first time we watched, I think it wasn't Dynamo, it was someone else. We watched someone, and for my dad, it was magic. And I was like, Dad, look, hang on a second, I don't think it's magic. And my dad goes, how?
Yeah.
How? Just give me that look, like, how then? And the thing is, I can't present an argument because I don't know myself. So I don't know, Dad, but that's not magic, Dad. And I remember him looking at me going, you can't explain it, then it's magic.
Yeah.
And then I remember a long time ago, we actually went into it. We had a proper debate. And I was like, Dad, there's no such thing as magic. And my dad goes, you don't believe? I was like, oh my God. And he was trying to tell me, like, he was saying, look, some men, some women, they've got God's gift. Okay. And I said, and now they're magicians. And he said, yes, you don't understand some of these things. And then I shattered my dad's heart and I showed him a program. It used to come on Sky One, I think it was. And it was Magic Secrets Revealed.
Oh, the master magician.
The magician.
Yeah, he's loathed and hated within the magicians community.
He must be on like a hit list and a half.
Yeah.
And I was like, the last people you want to fuck with are magicians, because they will get rid of you and no one will find you. You know what I mean? And I remember showing I was such an asshole because I was like, Dad, guess what we're watching tonight?
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, what is it? And I was like, watch this. And I remember looking at it and I took the magic away. Yeah. And he just looked and he was like so disappointed.
Yeah.
And I thought like it was as if I'd shown a child that Santa Claus is not real.
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously my dad knows to a certain degree.
Hang on, Santa's not what?
I've done it again. I'm going to done it again. But I remember looking at him and my dad knows obviously a lot of it is all sleight of hand and things like that. But you know the elaborate ones where they're really...
The big illusions.
The big illusions.
Copperfields. hiding the statue, making the Statue of Liberty disappear, walking through the Great Wall of China.
There you go. Like to a certain degree, you want to say to yourself, hang on a second, this guy might have something. But I love it. I can't get enough.
Yeah, well, this is it. I'm exactly the type of audience member that I now hate, because, of course, you want the audience member to or your spectators to just enjoy the magic and then walk away and go, that was great entertainment. But then somebody says, hang on, how'd you do that? And what did you... And then you think, oh, no, just leave it alone, mate. So, which is exactly what I would do.
You know what it is? The big illusions are fine. They're great on TV. Yeah. My favorite things are little card tricks. When because I'm so egotistical, I believe in my mind that I can figure this out, and I'll watch with such intent, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? And when I can't figure it, it's so frustrating. But they just do it so naturally, so easy, and you cannot keep up.
No,
and you think to yourself like, surely that I'm going to catch this out. There's got to be a certain way, and you just can't.
No, Sonny, some of the young ones well, not even the young ones, just some of the people in the Nottingham group that I go to, and they do these card tricks and they show these tricks, and sometimes we have these nights called home. It's quite sad because I've been doing so much stand up and podcasting. I haven't been to the Magic Club for like a year, so I feel a bit out of touch of it. But when I was going regularly, we'd have these homegrown nights where there wasn't really anything on. There was no visiting magicians doing lectures. There was nothing. And so we just come along and show each other stuff that we've been doing or learning. And, oh, can you help me out with this? Does this look any good? And somebody said, oh, look at this. I've been learning this. And they go and do a trick. And I had no idea how they'd been doing it. And I said, well, hang on, how did you do that? And they'd show me it. I'd just be amazed. Just the sleight of hand and the speed of it. And I think, that's no good, and I can't do any of that, which is why I do the mind reading stuff, because it's less. The
first time
you don't need the dexterity.
I'm going to interrupt you there, Stu, because that absolutely blew my mind, and I'm not just saying that now because you did it. The first time I watched you do that, I remember sitting back and you're doing your thing, and you sent the recording. Do you remember?
What, for the Terry Pathic?
Yeah, Terry Pathic. Yes,
Terry Pathic,
everyone needs to know you are Terry Pathic. I remember the first time I saw that you posted it on the group chat. We got a group chat for comedians.
Yes,
and I remember you posted that, and I sat back and I thought, what's this? Because we always did a show and we quickly posted it on the group.
That's
chat.
right. Yeah.
Lads have had it, or ladies, to tell us, what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong.
Yeah.
You came out, you had like that, the whole get up, and you did it. I thought it was just going to be you doing stand-up comedy and getting it wrong, getting magic wrong, and making it funny.
Yeah.
But then you was actually, I was not concentrating on your stand-up. I was more like, how the fuck did he do that? Hang on a second. How did you know that? And so you had 5 contestants that stood up next to you, or 4 contestants.
4 people come up onto the stage, yes.
And they drew
the pictures, yeah.
You knew what they drew, who did it. And it blew my mind.
Yeah, and then I replicate the last straw in, yeah.
Mate, how long did it take you to hone that skill?
Do you know what? If you knew how that was done, you would be very, very unimpressed.
No, don't do it.
But it's the skill is not actually doing it. The skill is doing it and not making everybody aware of what you're doing.
Wow.
Just that what's the right word? Distraction, deflection. It's you can get away with a lot.
You magicians are dangerous people.
Yeah, well, they can be. Yeah.
Keep an eye on his hands throughout the whole of this episode.
No. Do you know what? I'm drinking this coffee. This is really good.
Is it good?
It's very good. Yeah.
To tell everyone that's listening, you're drinking a Spanish latte.
A Spanish latte.
Spanish latte.
And it was Spanish latte. They started doing them in Costa a couple of months ago, and I got hooked on them. And I was waiting for them to make me the drink one day, and I said, "What do you put in a Spanish latte?" And they said, "Oh, well, it's just a big spoonful of condensed milk in a coffee." So I thought, "Oh, right, okay." So I started making them myself at home because, they're just really great because you've got loads of condensed, it's just all sugar in it and milk and cream and all stuff that's really bad for you, but it tastes they're really great. And then I was working with a guy from Spain. He flew over from Spain to work with me at a conference, Javier, and I went to pick him up. If you've been to Birmingham Airport, where the arrivals come in, and they come through the thing, and there's a Costa coffee.
That's
there.
right, yeah.
And I said to Javier, I would have got you a Spanish latte, but they've stopped doing them in the Costa now. And he went, "What's a Spanish latte?" Sure. And I went, "A Spanish latte." Javier, surely you get your coffee and you put your spoonful of condensed milk in it. And he went, "No, we don't do this in Spain. We don't do this." I was like, "All right, okay." But I've continued to make my Spanish latte. So this is a very good one. So compliments to your wife, Sunny. It's very, very good.
I'll take all the credit for that because I've been researching this for ages. So when I asked, like I always ask everyone that's going to come onto the show, I always say, "Look, guys, I've got like a selection of drinks."
You got an impressive drink selection, yeah.
And I thought, whatever anyone wants, it's here. I can do it. And then I got a coffee machine. Shout out to my friend Steve.
But you didn't get a coffee machine just for this, did you?
No. I didn't. So he said to me, "I don't drink. I want a coffee." I said, "All right." And I said, "What kind?" He goes, "Anything." Just like I thought, a lot of people might want a hot drink, so I got a coffee machine.
Yeah.
So I thought I'm covered. And then when I asked yourself and you said I want a Spanish latte, I told my wife and she looked at me and she said, "Stop asking people what they want."
Yeah, just tell them what they're going to have.
Goes, "Just show them." I said, "Okay then."
So I'm very grateful
man.
for that.
So what is next planned for the podcast?
So we release our podcast, the My Generation Gap podcast. It's every other Tuesday.
Okay.
So we try and do a couple ahead to get ahead of release schedule, so they're all kind of done and all scheduled to release, just in case you can't record when you want to record. And the next episode is this Tuesday, and we've been talking about a TV show called Heartstopper.
Ooh.
I don't know if you've been watching that or you've seen it. It's a contemporary drama. It's aimed at young adults. It's set in a school, and it's just about young people kind of coming of age, exploring their sexuality, and it's all about the world of young people and finding out who they are and the relationships between them and their friends and the partners and potential partners. And it's really it did take me back to my teenage years. So, and then watching that, and then we talk about that and the differences between how I see it as a Generation Xer and how Harriet sees it as a Generation Zer, and the differences between those. And then out of that, we talk about all sorts of other stuff, just about what we've been watching on television and what we've been doing that week. I think I'd had quite a quiet week, and one of the most, the most impressive thing I'd done that week was I'd managed to go through a McDonald's drive-through without stopping. And I explained how you do that just by ordering a coffee, and you drive by and they just hold the coffee out for you and you just grab it. And she was like, "Is that the highlight of your week?" And I went, "Yeah, pretty much." So
there's an episode you did on Stranger Things.
Oh, yes.
So I held back on that one. I want to watch that with my wife.
Right.
Because we've just finished it. So we caught up late.
Right, okay.
Just finished it and absolutely amazing.
It's great, Stranger Things.
Hooked.
Yeah,
I cannot wait for the new one. When we saw you did an episode on that, I was like, "Ooh, we need to watch this together." So we're waiting for that one.
Yeah, because she taught me quite a lot of things about Stranger Things as well, because I just watched it and just thought, it's just like a load of nostalgia from the 1980s, and there's not much to it, and it's really good. It's really exciting. The characters are great in it, But then the way Harriet explained it to me, and she kind of talked about how it's linked with, well, she sees it's been linked with mental health and all these kind of things. It was really kind of enlightening for me. So she kind of opens my eyes up to loads of things as well. So
really? So it's linked to mental health?
Well, that's how she sees it. And now she sees lots of the... Have you finished watching it?
Yeah,
Sonny?
yeah.
All right. So how she sees... So we focus on...
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it might be a spoiler alert, but how some of the kind of the victims of the baddies in Stranger Things tend to be suffering from some sort of mental health issues, whether it be PTSD, kind of hiding sexuality and these kind of things, and how you feel alone, and how then that can make you vulnerable to people that might bully you, and your mental health degrades as a result of those kind of things. So she equated it all to that, and I hadn't seen any of that. So it kind of really opened my eyes up to Stranger Things.
Now you mention it, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it from a perspective, from that perspective, there's so much mental health in so many things we watch.
There really is, yeah. And I think that's a really good thing about Generation Z. They're way more aware of how things do impact on your mental health. And it's a good thing. And you see lots of people from my generation saying, oh, you young people now are all soft and all this, and oh, why do you have to always talk about your feelings? But it's a great thing, because we lived through the 80s and 90s where it was just all, oh, shut up, grow up, man up. And they're all terrible things to say to young people. You should be aware of your feelings, and it's I think society's benefiting as a result. But then you have some setbacks, which I think we're going through a bit of a period right now. There's some it's a bit tempestuous out there at the moment in terms of gender politics and mental health politics and those kind of things. It's bit hit and miss. Right now.
That's exactly it. It's a bit hit and miss. I mean, I'm a bit conflicted in it, because I struggle to conform to a certain ideology and agenda. Like for me, I'm a big believer in why does it always have to be team A or team B?
Yeah.
Which one do you fit in? If you think this way, you're going to only belong to that team.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think we've got to such a point in society now where everything's an extreme.
You're right. Everything has become partisan, hasn't it? It's you're either, like you say, you're either A or you're B, and it's not. It shouldn't be like that, should it? You should.
It's like diets. The one thing people don't tell you about diets is that they all work. In my personal experience, they all work. The only thing that fails is how long can you do them for?
Yeah,
that's what fails you. Like the diet itself will always work, and then eventually it's longevity. How long can you sustain this diet for?
Yeah.
And the truth is, you can't sustain any of them. So what do you have to do? Have a varied diet and control your consumption. You got to be able to be on a calorie deficit. There's so many things involved.
Yeah.
But we're so focused on the diet, and we think to ourselves, it's just this. This is it. This is the key. This is what's going to make me. And it's the same with these kind of things. Like, should you be masculine? Should you be sensitive?
Yeah.
Should you be this? Should you be that? And I always say, hang on a second. If we need a varied diet, surely for our body to operate mentally, should we not also have a varied mentality?
Yeah.
Should we not also consider everything? Should we also be as sensitive, compassionate as we possibly can at all times, but also have the ability to snap out of it if we need to? Do you know what I mean? If things happen, if at any point you need to have a little bit of assertiveness, thing like there's a saying I love to have, where it's better to be a warrior in a garden than to be a gardener in a war. So to have the ability to do all those things, but don't do them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Have the ability to be aggressive, be assertive, to be strong, to be calculative, get a task done, to get it done. Have the ability to do that, but be compassionate at the same time.
Yeah, and give everybody else space.
Give everyone else space. Be compassionate. Think about people's feelings.
Yep.
Before you don't have to lead. You shouldn't have to then just be the only one speaking. You could be able, to listen as well. Have the ability to do it all. Why can't we be it all? It has to be either an A or you're B. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be a caring lover, and at the same, like a great dad, a great husband. I want to be the most lovable, cuddable daddy that there is. But I want them to know at the same time, if things go down, Daddy's going to go crazy. You know what I mean? That Daddy's got our back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. People need space, don't they? And you need to be able to express
Exactly.
who you are as well and be who you are, and people to allow that, and for you to allow other people to be who they are as well.
Scary world.
Yeah. But with your stand-up routines, you talked a lot about doing martial arts and things like that. Is that something you still do?
Shall I be honest with you, Stu?
Yeah.
Completely honest with you. So, like, a lot of people know this. That story is based on true events. So, like, it's funny you mentioned that. Is when I was younger, like, honestly, my whole routine is so close to the truth. Except for the ending. Well, spoiler alert, I didn't shit on anybody. But like the whole routine was based on a real life experience. So I used to work out when I was younger.
Yeah.
And being a typical young lad who's entered the world of the gym for the first time, I started bench pressing and my chest got just a tiny fraction bit tighter. And that was it. It got to my head. And I truly believed, I am mighty. Like, I felt like Thor, and I started having a walk. I was very arrogant. I was very cocky. And I just felt I was strong. I'd never, ever even punched a punching bag. But because I'd worked out and I felt like I could do, 50 press-ups in one go. That's it. That means I'm the next Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Until I walked into Jiu Jitsu for the first time.
That was Jiu Jitsu.
And the problem was, which I didn't mention in the routine because there wasn't enough time. When I first walked into a dojo, like a Jiu Jitsu, like a place there, it was a Sunday, and they were rolling with just rash guards on, which means they weren't wearing their gi. A gi is like a white uniform that they wear, and it's closed with a belt.
Okay,
and that lets you know what their rank is.
Oh, so you couldn't see who was like the great, who were the beginners and who were the black belts.
White belt, beginner, black belt, stay the fuck away from them. That's how it basically goes, and all the colours in between, basically.
Yeah.
So everyone's just wearing like these rash guards, and I walked in, and I'm very cocky, very arrogant.
There's a little guy.
I was eyeing him up already, and I remember I walked up to one of the guys, and I said, "All right, mate, I signed up online." And he said, yeah, no worries, mate. And he said, this is just an open workout, which means we're just rolling around here. We're not doing it. And I didn't know anything about it. Nothing at all. All I know is I watched it on TV. And in my mind, when he's on top of me, I'll just push him off. And that was about as much as I knew about jiu-jitsu. This kid must have been about 15 years old. I'm about 20 years old now. 15, maybe 14. He had spots, Stu.
All right.
And they said, just go with him over there. And I was all right. And his name's not Ricardo. I made that up. But I remember he was Brazilian. He had a thick Brazilian accent.
Oh, really?
And I said, yeah, sure. I went there. He honestly, I've never felt more. He taught me. I've never felt more vulnerable. I could not do anything to him. Every time I took him on the floor and I held him there, I was like, that's it. I got you now. I was stronger than him. I could hold him there, but he knew how to manipulate my strength.
Like a ferret.
Every time I put my weight on him, he'd flip me around and I'm on my back looking at his ass is in my face. And I couldn't figure it out and I was getting embarrassed. I'm looking around and other people were chuckling.
Really?
And I was like, what is going on?
Look at Ricardo.
This guy was like a purple belt. It wasn't even like, he wasn't.
What's purple? How high is purple?
I think a purple is 2 away from a black, I think.
So like purple, brown, and then black, is that right?
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
Right, okay.
Or other way around. I know he was 2 away from a black. I found out afterwards. The hard way I found out. And I remember by the end of it, when I was absolutely exhausted, when I say sweating in places you shouldn't be sweating. And I remember, it's bad when you have to stop the guy halfway and ask him if he's okay. Like, are we okay? Are you angry at me or something?
Yeah.
And I remember him
do I know you?
He saw me as fresh meat. I was the ideal candidate. Okay, here's a guy who thinks he's strong. I'm going to practice everything I know on him. He was doing moves I know for a fact no one had told him to do. So everyone else is practicing basic things like, transition, how to get out of this. He was doing all sorts on me. He was running circles around, choking me, arm bars, and in the end, I stopped and I just sat back. Like when you curl up in a fetal position.
Yeah.
So I just sat back in the back of the room and I was just looking around.
Cried.
And I was thinking, I don't want to be here. And I remember seeing a guy who was well built.
Yeah.
He was a black belt. And I remember thinking to myself, he can do whatever he wants to me. What this kid can do whatever he wants to me. That guy, and so it was such a humbling experience, and everyone needs that. Like everyone thinks they're a champion until they get smacked in the face.
Well, that's what Mike Tyson
There you
said.
go.
Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth.
No truer words have ever been spoken after that.
So have you ever just been to one Jiu Jitsu
No, so
lesson?
I went.
You went back,
I went for like a few months after,
but not
that.
on a Sunday.
But no, never
When
on a Sunday.
Ricardo's there.
Never again. But I remember thinking to myself, this is something that I need to now humble myself and realize that, okay, there's people that are better than me. I'm not the dog's bollocks. And that was it. After that, I learnt my lesson, and I've never ever started a fight. I've realized that anyone could be Ricardo.
Yeah, you don't know who you're dealing with.
Honestly, you don't. You really don't. I'll tell you another thing. There's a girl, a similar experience I had afterwards. After I had taken a few lessons, I kind of knew what I was doing. This girl gave me the same kind of beating.
No.
And it's worse now because now I kind of know what I'm doing and I still couldn't do anything to it.
Well, even if you went back now, honestly, she would still give you a hiding.
That's the level. And I recommend jiu-jitsu to anybody. Anyone that's got kids or anyone themselves that want to do it. It is such a phenomenon. The confidence you get once you understand. It's like swimming and not being able to swim.
Really?
That's the difference. Like,
so what's jiu-jitsu? Is that because karate is about...
Yeah, so karate, Muay Thai, you got kickboxing, boxing.
Judo's like wrestling.
Yes, those are striking disciplines. And judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, those are grappling disciplines.
Grappling. Okay, yeah.
So striking, anyone can strike. So anyone can get... Obviously, you've got to be good at it, but anyone can pull off a lucky knockout.
Yeah.
You could be thrashing, struggling, running away, and you could throw a haymaker. If it connects, that could be the end of the fight. So everyone has that one punch ability that if they're lucky, they can land it. You can't really get lucky with grappling.
So is it like chess, when you have to think like 2 or 3 moves ahead, 100%. Where you think if I do this, then they can do that and I can do it?
You're on top of me and I'm trying to pin you down. What I'm not noticing is you're locking your legs. You're locking my legs up.
Yeah.
As soon as I post, you've noticed my arm. So now in your head, the jiu-jitsu practitioner is thinking, I got an opportunity here to now take his arm, turn it into an arm bar. Then they're also positioning their hips, thinking, well, if he turns this way and tries to escape that, well, now I can take his back. Right. Now I can finish. That's all in a split second. They've already planned what they're going to do with me. So however I react, they're already thinking of their options and their possibilities of how to take my life. It's murder. It's
like chess.
It's murder chess.
Murder chess.
And that's the complexity of it. And the people that are good at it, the people that have actually... I think once you've got a blue belt means that you're now sufficient enough in the understanding and you've done all the moves.
And the transitioning from move to move.
It doesn't necessarily mean you're good at jiu-jitsu. It just means you understand how it works and you've done all the moves at least once.
Yeah.
And after that, you progress. Anything from blue up, I think you're very dangerous. Honestly, I take my hat off to anyone that sticks with it and continues with it because, funnily enough, it's not about strength. It's not about your tenacity. It's not about any of that. It's honestly, the more intellectual you are, the more the more you can stay calm under pressure, the more you can just sit back and relax and think.
Yeah.
A couple of steps ahead, the better you'll be. It's like these nerds are these are the real superheroes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Honestly, I want to do it with my kids. I really want to put them into it.
See, I'm a panicker. I wouldn't be able to do that.
You'd think that, but you'd be amazing at it.
I don't think so.
You got that size. So if you held someone down, I think they ain't going nowhere. And then you can take all the time you want to think about it.
Yeah. I'll have a think about it while I eat a cream cake.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you how did you get into stand-up comedy, Stu?
So again, like Maggie, I've always loved comedy. My dad had a love of comedy. I grew up with him and we went to see comedians all over the place and I've always loved it. And it never seemed to be a world that was available to me to access until I met my current wife now. We'll talk a bit more about that in a little while. It's something I want to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
But performing magic, it opened me up to a world of performing and things that you can do. And so I thought, do you know what? I just really want to give this a go. I bet I can be funny. And I tried found a couple of guys on Facebook and did 1 or 2 open mics, which were all right, not great. And I thought, do you know what? I need to get better at this. And then that's when I signed up to do James Cook's course in Birmingham, which is where I met you. And that was phenomenal, really. It was really great. And I kind of, since then, that was about a year ago, wasn't it?
It's been a year already. Wow.
Yeah, just over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was February and March, wasn't it?
That's right. That was an amazing course. Like there's a consensus along comedians that you can't be taught comedy. Like people will say,
I think that's right. Yeah.
Like you can't teach stand-up comedy. You can't. And I always say you can't teach someone how to be good, but you can teach them how it works.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? You can teach them the fundamentals, and James was brilliant at that.
It was really great.
Really good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like James is a man of very few words. As you know, very few words. And then where he opens up when he's teaching you. Like he's so I loved watching him when we would go on stage and we're trying bits out, and the feedback, when he'd give you feedback, he's so engaged and his ideas are so amazing.
Yeah.
And he's trying to open you up. He's not just telling you, say this. Instead, he's saying, well, think about this. What would you put here instead?
Yeah.
And he's got such a great mind for that joke telling.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And like when you watch him on stage, you can see it all come together.
Yeah. He's very, very good.
Yeah, really good, isn't he? I like it. I mean, I saw him at a gig. I went to watch my mate who did his first ever performance on James's course.
Oh, really?
After, Bally Singh, really, really funny. First ever performance he did, absolutely amazing. Okay. Shout out, what's his handle?
I'm going to write him down.
Put a Sing on it. Great, he does a podcast as well. Really, really funny, absolutely hilarious guy.
Okay.
So I went to watch him, and I saw him, and then I'm at the bar now, and just they had like an interval, and I saw James, and okay, this is my Yoda. You know my teacher. You know what I mean? I wanted to let him know, like I'm doing it. I'm still in the game.
Yeah.
So I went up to him all excited, and at the end, and he went, "Hey, Sonny." I was like, "Hey, James, how you doing?" Yeah. And he goes, "How's it going?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. I'm telling him everything. I'm still doing stand up. I've done this many gigs and this and that." And he was like, "Good." That's Jay. Well, that's the way he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then I remember he looked at his watch and he said, "That's great. I'm going to go take a piss." That was it. And he goes, "Great singer." I was like, "Yeah, great singer." But when I saw him on stage, I was like, "Yeah, what a legend."
It's good.
He owns the crowd. Wherever he goes, he smashed it. I found speaking in front of you guys in the class, more terrifying.
Harder.
That was the hardest thing ever. Even when we went to Sheffield, 80% of the crowd was actual comedians.
Yes.
I found that so difficult. I cannot perform in front of comedians.
It's like doing magic in front of magicians.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
It's so daunting. I mean, people don't understand how much goes into it. And like a lot of people kept saying to me when they watched my performance, they were saying, "Oh, you need to take your time. Like, let us laugh at the jokes." And I was like,
I thought I was.
And also, I've only got 5 minutes, and I'm constantly worried about James flashing a torch at me and saying, "Get off the fucking stage." You know what I mean? It's just so much that goes into it, and it's incredible that we did that. We got that out the way.
Yes.
And now we're by ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
In the world. Yeah.
That I found really difficult. Like, I remember the first time, my biggest problem I found when first time I did stand-up comedy is I got a good reaction.
Yeah. And then when the first time you don't get a good reaction is, it's not nice. It's disconcerting.
It's a hard drive home.
It's the hardest thing to get over.
A bombing has got to be the most disheartening thing I've ever had. And like killing a crowd when you can hear them laughing. And then when I remember, I'm never ever going to forget, I saw a couple and she was nudging her husband and like saying, "Did you hear that?" You know what I mean? And I was like, yes, they loved that bit.
Yeah.
Same joke, same setup. I did it absolutely perfect in a different place, and just silence. They're just looking at me like, "Why are you on stage? Why are you taking up our time?" And I was just like, "Oh," you can hear yourself think when you're like, "You shouldn't be doing this right now." What are you doing with your life? And then the drive home, and you're like, "I thought I was going to be the next Russell Peters."
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah,
it's not easy, man.
No, they're the things to get over. But then you after you've had a few of those, you realise, nobody dies,
Except you.
Except you. Yeah, and you'll probably not see any of those people ever again.
Yeah.
And everybody lives another day, and we go again.
Have you ever performed at the it's in Dudley, that place that me and Stu went to? Remember
You and Luke?
Me and Luke. What was it called now?
In Dudley? No.
Hollybush.
Oh, no.
The legendary
But
place.
I've heard about the legendary Hollybush.
So the Hollybush, okay, how do I explain? First of all, it's called an art centre. Okay? It's called an art centre.
Which is a pub, though, right?
It is a pub. It's not a pub. Everybody that's ever gone to this place, everyone that I've spoken to anyway, loves this place.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, so do I. There's a magic to this place.
Yeah.
And you can't really make it up. And you cannot explain why it's magical, because it's not. But it is. That makes no sense at all. So let me explain. You know, when you say it's got everything but the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
No, it's got a kitchen sink in it. It's got a kitchen sink that they use as a drum sometimes to bring people on the stage. It's unbelievable. Like halfway through my set, I've got a big build up. I'm about to hit that punchline. Everything's great. And then I hear someone across the bar saying, "Who wants the pot noodle?" I remember looking up like this. And then someone from across the other side of the room goes, "I'll have the beef, the tomato beef." I'm thinking, what is going on? I'm trying to perform here. But it's stuff like that. But it just works. And like nobody in the audience gives a fuck. Nobody cares.
Nobody's precious.
But you can tell they like stand-up comedy.
Right.
So they're engaged, but they're also just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Make us laugh. You know, one of those ones. The setting is like they got an open fire. Not one chair is the same. You got like half a sofa somewhere in the chairs, and also everyone's just sitting kind of all over the place. You got like the bar there. It's like a very small room. You've got like I had a purple backdrop, and half of it was hanging down. And it's just an amazing place to be if you really want to see, do you really want to do stand-up comedy? Because if you can hack that place,
it's a test.
It's a test, man. But then if you do get it, man, the love that was there and like the passion, the people that were like,
really,
the comedians, like they're so helpful as well. That everyone's like, yeah, you're here. Oh, you must be serious about stand-up comedy.
Right,
it's one of those kind of vibes.
Okay.
Like everyone that's there kind of gets it. They're all like, yeah, this is not an easy place to perform. So if you're here, we got love for you. That's the vibe I got anyway.
Right, okay.
And I remember I've never bombed harder than when I was at.
Oh,
at
really?
I forgot my whole bit halfway through the story. I made something up.
Yeah.
And I remember Luke was recording me. And I remember just doing this to Luke, like,
stop recording.
Stop recording, man. Let's just go home. And I remember Luke was telling me as well. He said, "That was very hard." I said, "Yeah, that was." It wasn't just me then. He goes, "No," because that was very hard. I said it was, and he actually did well. He actually got people out.
Okay.
I remember looking at a guy at the bottom of, like, right in the corner, sitting there looking. I remember halfway. He looked me in the eye, looked at his watch, and put his watch away, looked at me again to let me know that I'm wasting his time. My heart just sank at that point. I was like, nah. So that's a place.
Yeah, and that's an efficient heckle as well.
Oh my God, what a heckle and a half, honestly. That and the pot noodle guy, they just killed me off. That was me finished. And that's called an art centre.
An art centre.
An art centre.
Yeah. they have a festival, right, though, every year. They have their own festival.
And it's quite popular.
Yeah,
it's quite popular as well.
Yeah.
There's a really good comedian who's come out of that place. His name's Ash Baker. Have you heard of him?
I've seen his name. Have I met him? I think I might have met Ash.
Long hair.
I've met him. I think he does. I think I met him on one of Sham's nights.
At one of Sham's nights. Absolutely amazing. I'd recommend anybody check him out and watch him. He's so funny. Yeah. And I remember seeing him there, and I had gone up, and I went a few like months before that.
Yeah.
And when I saw him on there, I was like, oh my God, this guy's killing it. Like, he's on home turf here. He is.
Right.
So I think if you're familiar there, and then it's a great place to really work on your material.
Okay.
Really good. So I'd recommend that place if you really want to try it. If you fancy a bit of PTSD, but you really want to know if your stuff works, that's the place to go to, man. Honestly.
Oh, well, that's good. I will try that, because I took part in it's the first Derby comedy festival this year, and I was entered into the new comedian of the year heats.
Nice.
And that was last week, and I didn't get through the heats. and the winner was a very worthy winner. They were very good. You had 5 minutes, and so I did all my usual jokes that I know do well, and they did really well. But I stuck a new joke in there as well, and that fell flat. It didn't get anything, and I thought, oh come on, it's worth more than that. But it was a horrible feeling when you say something like that and it's tumbleweed through the place.
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. Is there anything else you'd like to do that's creative?
No, I think more stand-up comedy. I'm really enjoying doing that. I'd like to do more of that. I'm enjoying doing the character act, the magic character act, Terry Pathic. I'm enjoying doing that. I'd always wanted to do writing and be a writer, but I don't have the I don't have the discipline to be a writer and do that. And I tend to with projects, if it's a big I tend to not stick with things for very long. So stand-up comedy is really good because you can just do it bit by bit and then leave it alone and come back to it and leave it. With writing and things like that, you can't really. You've always got to be on it and you've always got to be doing it. So I'd love to be able to be a great writer, whether it be, short stories or things like that. And I have done a few short stories, writing groups and courses and being part of writing groups. I just don't have the discipline for it. I don't have the right personality for it. Whereas my wife, she's brilliant at stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It takes me ages to get into something as well. So if you got like time set aside to do something, so you think, right, Saturday afternoon, I've got free afternoon to do something. I've got 4 hours to do something creative and plan something. Yeah. I'll spend 3 hours of that just mucking about, just doing stuff and like doing the ironing and the washing or doing this, or then, I need to watch this on telly, and then an hour. It takes me about, it takes me 2 hours just to get into the right mindset to go and do something. But then once I'm in there, I can't stop it. I'm like a steam train. I just keep going and going. But then, of course, you can't because you think, oh, no, well, now it's time for his tea. And you've got a family to look after or you got to do something else. So, so I find that kind of thing really difficult. Whereas stand-up comedy, you can sort of write bits on the hoof, can't you? 'Cause stuff happens all the time, don't you? Like I say, don't know, everything's material. If you can, you can usually just write a couple of bits down every day or something, or hear something, take a voice note, and then gradually turn that into a joke. I think that's the beauty of stand-up.
My phone is covered in just notes after notes.
And
there's so many things I've never just gone back to. And then sometimes I think to myself, I've written the same thing again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think, hang on, I've already done this. Why am I not expanding? The same as you, I procrastinate so much. I spend too much time in preparation. So I spend more time preparing than actually doing it.
You know what I mean?
Right, okay, I need to sit down and do this. Well, let's get the laptop. Let's get this. Actually, you know what? I need a drink. Let me get a drink. Right, yeah. So, you know what? Let me just make sure the kids aren't going to disturb me. So I'll go and fix them up to go play or something.
Yeah.
And I'm doing so many things to prepare. I've eaten up all my time to do anything. And then I sit there and I think I didn't need to do any of that. I should have just sat down and started doing it. And it's one of those, isn't it?
Oh, go put a wash on. Oh, I always meant to paint that little bit in the corner. Oh, that's loose. I'll just put a nail in that. And I need to hang up that picture. And then, before you know it, your time's gone. And you think, I should have been writing or should have been doing something.
I agree. Where do you think we are, like, as in culturally, in terms of creativity and like the options that we have to be creative?
That's a really good question, and I think now culturally you're seeing a lot of arts, a lot of the media and arts, whether it be film, TV, comedy, just anything, music. You're seeing a lot of it being diluted, I think, because a lot of it is less and less accessible for working class people. And I think that informed a lot of my life as well growing up. and I think it's been exacerbated right now as well. When I was a younger person, I mean, I'm 50 now, so when I was, a teenager or in my early 20s, wanting to do something creative, it wasn't a field that was open to me, or it wasn't a field that I was led to believe was open to me. So when somebody said, "Stu, what do you want to do?" Your careers advisor and say, "Oh, what do you want to do? What do you enjoy doing?" Well, I enjoy writing. I enjoy being creative. I love stand-up comedy. Well, they're not careers. They're hobbies. You can do those things because do you know how many people make money from writing, or how many people do? And you think, "Oh, yeah, all right." So what you should do is you should go away and train and be be a scientist, or be a teacher, or do this, or learn how to lay bricks. Do something like that. And then if you want to be a writer after you have your trade, then do that. And then growing up working class and not having access to those things, and not knowing those things are available to you, or like going to university, if you're not familiar with the language of those things, that they're not available to you because you don't have the right language to. A lot of what you get access to now is front as well. If you don't have the confidence to ask for things, or you can ask for them, you're not going to, because you're just always told no. And now also, I think, now I'm older and I'm kind of financially secure, not wealthy, but financially secure. I have time to do these things, and you get to a certain age as well where you have that confidence about you, and you say, well, do you know what? I do want to do stand-up comedy. I can do this. And you realize there's a whole world out there that you think, well, I could have been in this world years ago. Why wasn't I doing this? And I'm only really doing what I'm doing now because my wife encouraged me, and she said, well, why can't you do those things? Why, those things, of course you can do those things. Just do them. Just go off and do them. Go and do improv. Go do comedy. Go do magic. Go learn these things. You can do. Whereas in a middle class, in a working class family or environment or schooling or jobs, those things are just closed off. You don't realize you have those opportunities, so you just don't do them. And I think now where we are with culture, you see so many people in acting positions, in TV, in music, who come from either legacy families. There's the phrases of Nepo babies or Nepo children. Yeah. But even then, lots of actors out there are from families who have been able to afford, private education, and they also have that confidence about them. They have the ability to go to acting classes or drama school, or they have time to go to auditions and practice things because they don't have to work 40 hours a week, so they're not knackered all the time. And also they just know that those things are available to them. They have the confidence of I don't want to use the word entitlement, that's not the right word, but they have the confidence to know, yeah, I can go and do that. So I think sometimes culture suffers because we don't hear very many working class voices in modern culture, and if we do, it's very much it's viewed as, oh, well, this is a working class thing, and it's viewed as something usually quite wonderful or really quite great, but it's not the normal. There's so much culture out there that is done by super middle class people. I find it hard to connect with sometimes.
That's very interesting. I mean, I liked the idea that, there's a saying when you were speaking that came to my mind straight away, that behind every, such a cliche saying, but behind every successful man, there's a woman. And that's quite literally the case for you, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
Your wife literally opened the doors, your eyes to the possibilities of creativity, of different things that you can do. Do you think at a certain point there is a cut-off line? Do you think there is at a certain point in life where some people can't do whatever they want?
Yeah, I think that is an interesting question. because I don't think there's a cutoff in terms of accessing these things. Because I accessed stand-up comedy. I started doing that when I was in my late 40s. But if I'd have started when I was in my teens or early 20s or late 20s even, I'd have progressed further. But, I'm 50 years old now, and if I spend the next 10 years doing stand-up comedy, I might obtain, might achieve some success, or it might be able to become I might be able to make a bit of a living or something from doing it, but I'll be 60 years old. So you can reach so I don't think there's a cut off in doing it, but I think there's, basically run out of time. If you don't do it earlier.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit sad, I suppose, but it feels great that I'm doing it now. And I think it's also a good lesson for young people just to get out there and do stuff. If you want to do it, don't overthink it. Just go out and do it.
Yeah. I get a question that I get asked quite a lot, and I've started to realize that this seems to be very prevalent within our culture, really, the way we think.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people always ask me when they find out I'm starting a podcast, or when they find out I'm doing stand-up comedy, they always say, "Oh, is there much money in that?" First thing they ask, and it's starting to make me realize that everything's about how much money is involved in it. And when I start telling them things like, "No, well, I'm not getting paid for any of this, nothing."
Yeah,
and then they look at me like, "Why are you doing it?"
Well, and that goes back to the class thing as well, because if you've got wealth behind you, or you can live with your parents for longer, or you can, somebody else can maybe look after your car insurance for you because you can't afford to pay it, or they'll help you out with your rent or something like that, then you can go off and do these things because you don't have to work all the time. You can say, well, do you know what? I'll take a part-time job, and then I'll muck around doing stand-up comedy until I get really good at it. But if you can't afford to do that, like you say, there's no money in it. Certainly not for the first 5-10 years, I wouldn't have thought, unless you get a really lucky break or you're that great at it, you get recognised instantly and you get picked up by somebody or some agent spots you. But other than that, it's just slog, innit? It takes 10 years, doesn't it, to become an overnight success, is what somebody said. What I personally believe is you're doing it, not put the money aside, is if you're doing it and you're happy to do the next episode. Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
Are you happy to do the next? If you feel dreaded to do the next episode, if you feel like, oh God, you shouldn't be doing it.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's it. You've done what you wanted to do, that's it. And
move on, carry on.
Yeah, do something else.
But me personally, I remember one thing my granddad said to me, and then it stuck with me for the rest of my life. And he said, I was with him when we went to visit him in India. We're going down a drive and down this long road, and I saw him point at a man, and the man said, "Hi, how you doing?" Whatever. And then as we left, people were saluting that man.
Right.
And I said to my granddad, I said, "Who was that?" And he said, "Oh, that's my mate. He was like a class fellow." I was like, "Oh, brilliant." And then my granddad said, "He's like a big politician now." I was like,
really?
"Oh, brilliant." And my granddad said, "He was a right dumbass in class." I said, "What do you mean?" Dad goes, in Punjabi, my dad goes, "He was an idiot." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." And my granddad said, "He used to copy me in class." And I was like, sounds a bit sour grapes here.
Yeah.
And then I said, well, Granddad, if you'd have carried on, you could have been the same. And he said, my granddad stopped and he said, "No, I couldn't." I said, "Why?" My granddad said, "I would have been way more successful than him. I could have gone higher than him." And my granddad said, "The friends that I have that are in the places that they are is because they had the opportunity to do that."
Yeah.
And he said, "Unfortunately, I had to stop my education because my dad had 9 kids."
Yeah.
And he said, my dad said to me that, "Look, you're the eldest son and I need your help. I need you to continue feeding these kids. I need you to stop your education right now. I don't care how good you are. I don't care what your aspirations are. Get a job and you're going to help me feed these kids and we're going to get them married." And he said that was the goal. That's it.
That's
and
it.
He said,
survival.
That's it. And he said, that was it. And then what really struck home with me was what my dad said to me, funny enough, a year after that, was we're watching the football.
Yeah.
And my dad's watching the football and he loves his football. And my dad said, and I said, "Oh, Dad, did you ever play football in India?" And my dad said, "I loved it, I wish that's all I wanted to be. I was like, really? I just found out something about your dad I didn't know. I said, Dad, I thought, you wanted to, my dad's a carpenter.
Right.
Said, I thought you wanted, and Dad goes, no. I said, I did that to survive.
Right.
Dad said, I had to do that. My dad left India when he was 16 years old.
Yeah.
Went to Libya, and he was straightening nails out. So they were ripping out buildings, ripping out nails from old timber, straightening those out to reuse them.
Wow.
And he said, this is the work I was doing. My dad said, I had no choice. I had to send money home.
Yeah.
And my dad goes, that was the reality. And one thing my dad said to me that really struck with me was, I said, Dad, what do you want me to do? Just, what would you like me to do? And he said, anything you want to do, because I never had that opportunity.
That's brilliant.
He said, my granddad, he said, your granddad never had the opportunity. Yeah. I haven't had the opportunity. But you have the opportunity, so do not waste it. Don't squander it. So for me, just trying something, I consider myself as victorious.
Yeah.
Guys, we made it as a family, because now your struggles have allowed me to do whatever I want, even if I fail. We haven't failed. We ain't going to fail, because we're just doing something we want to do.
Yeah.
So like, I'm doing stand-up because I can. You know what I mean? Like, I've got kids, I've got bills to pay, I've got all sorts. I'm not financially secure, nothing, but I have the option to do whatever I want. I've got myself set to such a degree because of those guys, because of all the things they've done.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I can do it. I think that's missing in the younger generations, where they're so obsessed with the mentality of, if you're going to do something, there better be money in it.
Yeah.
You got to just stop and think, look, you're in a place where there's no war happening.
Be thankful, yeah.
Where you have a place where you can be creative. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Art's a thing, you know what I mean? Where you can actually go and enjoy something. We can go and watch a stand-up comedian, a magician. We can do things. You can be a part of that. And people don't seem to understand that. Instead, it's okay. So there's no money in that. No, we ain't going to do that.
Yeah.
We can only do the things that make us money. We just realize we're in a place where, look, man, we can eat comfortably. We're fine. Do you know what I mean? We got all the things we need. Do you know what I mean? Just have a little bit less if you want. Just try and go and have some fun. Live.
Yeah,
We're not doing that for some reason.
Live and learn something. Always push yourself, and always... Yeah, I think creativity is important. I think it always needs to be a part of culture and part of you as an individual as well. Something, even gardening can be a creative thing, can't it? You're creating something beautiful, aren't you? Yeah.
So how did your wife get into poetry?
She just always loved it. Yeah, just always read poetry. When I first met her, which was... like 12 years ago now when we first met, she was just always reading poetry, then always writing stuff. And then she said, I'm going to do my MA, I'm going to do my master's, which she did. And then it's just kind of built up from there, reading and writing more. And
that's a creative power couple, that is. I have to go on a dinner date with you guys. I look at my wife like, we need to step our game up a bit. You know what I mean? Like, you need to take up pottery or something just to keep up with these guys.
Yeah. Oh no, well, she's she's way cleverer than I will ever be, and some of the things she writes,
he's saying this because he knows she's going to listen.
No, she doesn't. I don't think she listens to anything I do.
No, I appreciate that, Stu. You've been absolutely amazing, mate. Everything I thought you was going to be, you have literally ticked every box, mate.
All right, well, that's really nice to hear.
Thank you for being you, man. And you know what? You're welcome to come back onto the show.
I'd love to come back. Yeah.
Your podcast for everyone. If anyone is still listening, the podcast, where can they find you, first of all?
Well, they can find it anyway. My Generation Gap podcast. We're on all the socials. Find us on there. But we're on pretty much every platform, Spotify, pretty much all the podcasts, Audible, Amazon, Podbean. I think we're on all the podcasts. We're on YouTube as well, so the podcast goes on YouTube, and we post all sorts of clips on there, so that we've got lots of shorts on there as well, and reels. And
can we have a sneak peek? What's the next episode? Anything?
So the next one that's coming out on Tuesday. That's Heartstopper coming out Tuesday, and then after that is Buffy. So we're going to be doing a record about Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Wow!
And then so we're watching some episodes of that, and then Harriet will choose something for Generation Z.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that's going to be, but then after that, I think we had a YouTube comment from somebody saying you should really do the A-Team. So I think we're going to go back and do the A-Team, which I'm really looking forward to that. I used to love the A-Team. There's after doing Knight Rider the other way and talking about the Hoff. Oh, Harriet, my niece, she'd never heard of the Hoff. She didn't even know who David Hasselhoff was. It blew my mind.
Hang on a second, Stu. Omen, who's the Hoff? You know he's one. Yeah, there you go. He's extremely young as well.
Oh, really? Is that right?
So, like he's my guy when I want to know what's cool, what are the kids listening to. So I always head back with them, and I'm always saying, "Oh man, what does that mean?" My 7-year-old doesn't know, and he doesn't know. Then I realize, it doesn't need to be known.
well, this is it. And this is another thing. I was in because I have a full-time day job as well, and I was in our office the other day, and I was going to go out and grab some lunch, and Yorkshire slang is a real thing. And I said to some people in the office, "Oh, I'm going to go out and get some lunch. Does anybody want any spice?" Now, growing up in Yorkshire, spice is slang for sweets or
really?
Something like that. So I said, "Oh, I'll bring back some spice." And it was like, "What?" Because I didn't know that was like a drug. Right? So they're like, "Sure, I don't think you should." I was like, "Well, I'm just going to go get some spice." "No, don't." Whatever you do.
Just going to give it to the kids.
Yeah, I'm just going to give it, get some spice for the kids. Yeah, no, I don't think. And they were like, "Oh, do you think we should tell somebody?" Yeah, so my generation gap, we're all over the place, YouTube. But yeah, check out the socials. Harriet's really good for putting reels up on the socials, and I'm not good at that stuff. But
where are you performing stand-up next?
Stand up next, part of the Derby Comedy Festival. There'll be Terry Pathic is performing along with Slightly Psychic Cynthia, who's a puppeteer act. She's really great. She comes on, she's a puppeteer, and she performs like tarot readings and, and things, but she does it all as this puppet. She carries on this table with a puppet on it, and as soon as she puts a veil over her face, Liz, her name is the lady that performs this thing, then you're instantly invested in this puppet, and you just instantly talking to the puppet, who's this Welsh. I think she might actually be her grandma,
really?
Like a character of her grandma. Yeah.
Where's your next performance of that?
That's going to be Derby Comedy Festival. I can't remember the venue, but it's on the Ram Comedy Festival website.
Ram Comedy Festival.
Yeah, Derby. Ram. It's on June the 2nd.
June the 2nd. Oh, yeah. Stu, all the best with everything you're doing, mate.
Thank you.
Hopefully, I'll get back into stand-up myself as well.
Yeah.
I was having a bit of a break, but yeah, I've got so much material built up now. I can't wait to get it out. But hopefully, I'll catch you around on stage as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're absolutely legend. Take care.
All right, and you.